Once again, Arionne Curry is back in the spotlight, and not for a good reason. Another live, another breakdown, and another round of the same emotional chaos that keeps everybody asking the same question. When will it stop? Now, you're going to want to stay with me until the very end of this video because we're breaking it all down. Every tear, every word, and every reason the internet is completely over this same tired storyline. Trust me, this one goes deep. So picture this. Arionne goes live on Instagram again. At first, it seemed like it was going to be one of those chill, honest conversations where she just talked to her followers and share her side. But within minutes, that live took a hard left turn. The tone changed, the emotion spilled over, and what started as transparency turned into another full-blown meltdown. You could feel the tension through the screen. Her voice was cracking between calm and defensive, her energy jumping between sadness and anger, and once again, her name got tangled up with Melody Shari's. Because, let's be real, it always does. Every time Arionne speaks, somehow, some way, it circles back to Martell Holt and Melody. And y'all know by now, that triangle is one of the most talked about situations in Love and Marriage Huntsville history. Now, if you've been following this whole saga since the beginning, you know exactly how it all started. Martell Holt was married to Melody Shari, they had a family, they had a life, they had dreams together. But then came the affair, the whispers, the rumors, and the heartbreak that tore everything apart. And in the middle of that, Arionne was the other woman. Years later, that title still follows her like a shadow. No matter how many times she goes online to tell her side, people just aren't buying it anymore. Because every live, every rant, and every explanation sounds the same. Excuses instead of growth, blame instead of accountability. As Arionne sat on that live trying to make people understand her pain, married women started joining the chat. And y'all, they weren't there to attack her. They were there trying to speak from a place of woman-to-woman truth. They wanted to see a different side of her, to hear her say, you know what? I made a mistake. I was wrong. But instead, what they got was more of the same defensiveness, the same frustration, and the same emotional wall she always builds. She kept saying people never gave her a fair chance, that the blogs and TV made her out to be the villain. And maybe that's how she really feels, judged, silenced, and misunderstood. But what she doesn't see is that the same pain she keeps talking about is the same pain she keeps creating for herself by not letting it go. Because here's the truth. People have heard her story. They've seen the tears, they've read the posts, they've watched the lives. But after a while, the story doesn't hit the same when there's no change behind it. When you say you're over it but keep reliving it, people stop sympathizing and start getting tired. That's exactly what happened this time. The comments were full of people saying, girl, let it go. Move on. We're tired. You could see it in the chat. Folks were frustrated. They weren't even angry anymore. They were just done. And when one married woman told Arionne directly, I just wish you'd take accountability, that's when the tension really hit. Arionne snapped back, asking why wives always blame the other woman instead of their husbands. Now, she wasn't wrong for asking that question. It's a fair one. But it's also missing the point. Because nobody said Martell was innocent. We all saw how his actions destroyed his marriage, his home, and his family. Martell made his choices, and he's paying for them publicly. But that doesn't erase the fact that Arionne made choices too. She wasn't manipulated the entire time. She admitted herself that she knew he was married, but she stayed. That's where people lost patience, because she keeps saying she was lied to, but even after knowing the truth, she still decided to fight for that man. And let's be honest, Martell Holt has moved on, at least publicly. He's focused on co-parenting, on rebuilding his brand, on appearing with the cast of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Kimmy Scott, Marie Scott, Marcel Scott, and Letitia Scott. Meanwhile, Melody is over here glowing in peace. She's focused on her kids, her businesses, and her happiness. She's not even mentioning Arionne's name. That's what real peace looks like. And that's exactly why people say the contrast between Melody and Arionne is so clear. One woman healed, the other is still fighting ghosts. As the live went on, Arionne's emotions were all over the place. One minute she was calm, almost soft, trying to explain her side. The next minute she was snapping, telling people not to judge her because they don't know what she's been through. And that line, "Y'all don't know how that man had my head gone," hit heavy because it showed that she's still holding on to the same emotional grip Martell once had on her. You could feel that she's not just angry at the internet, she's angry at herself, angry at how things turned out, angry at how she got caught in a story that took everything from her. But instead of facing that pain head on, she keeps projecting it outward. What's wild is that every time she says she's done with the show, she ends it talking about it. Every time she says she's done with Martell, she brings him up. Every time she says she's over Melody, somehow Melody's name ends up right back in her mouth. It's like she's trapped in a loop, still trying to explain, still trying to justify, still trying to prove that she's not who people say she is. But the more she tries to control the narrative, the more she proves that she's still stuck in it. And that's what makes this so sad. Because Arionne is not a bad person. She's a woman who made bad choices. But instead of owning those choices, she keeps defending them. And that's why she can't find peace. Meanwhile, Melody's silence is louder than any live Arionne has ever done. She doesn't respond, she doesn't post shade, she doesn't go live to clap back. She's simply living, glowing, and moving forward. And that's what makes people respect her even more. When you've been through hell and can still walk in peace, that's power. That's strength. That's growth. And that's exactly why Arionne doesn't understand yet. Peace doesn't come from defending pain. It comes from facing it. By the end of the live, you could tell Arionne was emotionally drained. Her words slowed down, her tone softened, and for a split second, you could see the real her, not the defensive version, not the angry version, but the tired, hurt woman underneath it all. She looked like someone who wanted freedom, but didn't know how to reach it. And maybe that's the saddest part of all. Because healing isn't about convincing people you've changed. It's about actually changing. It's about doing the quiet work when nobody's watching. It's about apologizing, forgiving yourself, and letting go of the need to be right. People in the comments were saying things like, "You don't owe us anything. Just go live your life." And they meant it. Because honestly, nobody wants to see Arionne breaking down anymore. They want to see her rise. They want to see her evolve. They want to see her win, but with peace, not pain. Because after all these years, the same tears, the same rants, the same justifications, it's just not hitting anymore. The world is tired, and she looks tired too. And that's not coming from hate. It's coming from exhaustion. You can only relive the same heartbreak for so long before people stop clapping and start praying you heal. And y'all, that's the thing. Arionne's story has become a mirror for a lot of women. It's a lesson about what happens when you don't let go, when you keep trying to fix something that was never yours to fix, when you keep defending choices instead of learning from them. And while the internet can be cruel, sometimes the comments are just truth in tough love form. People are not asking Arionne to be perfect. They're just asking her to grow. Because healing isn't loud. Healing is quiet, peaceful, and steady. And every time she goes live, she steps right back into the same storm she claims she escaped. Melody Shari, on the other hand, is walking proof that peace pays off. She went through humiliation, betrayal, and pain, but she came out stronger, softer, and glowing. You can tell she's found her center. You can tell she's not entertaining drama anymore. She's raising her kids, running her businesses, and staying focused. And that's why fans say her silence is the ultimate clapback. You can't drag someone who's already at peace. You can't compete with someone who's healed. And that's the message in all of this. No matter how loud the chaos gets, truth always speaks quietly. Arionne can keep talking, but until she faces herself honestly, nothing will change. Every breakdown, every rant, every live, it's just another repeat of the same story. And if she really wants to move on, she has to stop performing the pain and start processing it. Because peace isn't something you post. It's something you practice. So as we wrap this up, I want you to think about this. Sometimes life will keep putting you in the same situation until you learn the lesson. And maybe, just maybe, this was life's way of holding up the mirror to Arionne one more time. Because until she admits what really happened and forgives herself for it, she'll never be free. Melody's glow is proof that healing is possible. Martel's silence shows that time eventually humbles everyone. And as for Arionne, the world is still watching, not to judge, but to see if this time she finally chooses peace over pride. Don't go anywhere because I've got more updates on how fans are reacting, what Melody's been quietly posting since this live, and what insiders are saying about how Martel really feels watching all this unfold. So stay with me to the